Hey gang, wanted to show you guys a couple new saws that I got for the channel. This right here is a mint. It's dirty, but it is a very good, very low hour example of the Jonsereds. This is back when they still had the S on there. Jonsereds 70E. So I picked this up. Actually, I went to get this. Might as well show you. I went to get this. Another very low hour. I mean, it's still got, look at that clutch cover. Very low hour Jonsered 2152C. So the C means it's got the catalytic muffler on it. This one does fire up and run. I think it just needs tuned in, really. It didn't want to idle, would have had to warm it up, but it fired up and ran. That's all I was really looking for. And not 100% sure what I'm going to do with this, if I'm just going to sell it outright right now and turn a little bit of profit, or if I'm going to port it and stuff. I don't know. Not worried about it. I got it. It's rare that you see one of these pop up at all. And so whenever you do, you try and go get it if the price is reasonable. And the price was reasonable. It wasn't free. And it wasn't like, woohoo, look at this great deal. But it was a good enough deal for me to drive an hour and a half to go get it. But while I was there, talking with him, real good fella, old timer. And he's like, I got another one of those. And I thought he meant another 2152. He just simply meant another Jonsered. And he said he bought it off of an 80-year-old man. And the man that I bought it off of was 70, you know. So he said the 80-year-old guy swore up and down he bought it brand new, and he was the only one to ever run it. And all he did was see if it would start on fuel, and it did. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Takes a few pumps to get it started, so don't think, there we go. Yep, so she's got spark, and he said that he suspected the only thing that it would need is rebuild the carb, fuel line, and stuff, you know. And he's like, it'll run. We will see. In a situation like this, first thing I do is blow all the junk off of it. Let's rebuild it together, shall we? There we go. All right. Pink. It's a Kershaw, but it's branded Snap-on. I think it's Kershaw. Yeah, you can see Kershaw. I got into a real bad motorcycle wreck on 285. That's what caused that. That was a bad one. Woo! I hit pavement doing 55 miles an hour. It's all nice and wet, like maybe it was trying to pump some fuel. Man, it's wet. It is soaked. All right. Let's do the air again. blow it out, but watch out, you don't want to blow that screen out. So I got my finger over it. We're looking down in that hole. Oh God, this is difficult to do. Right there. And yeah, it's pretty caked up. So we're gonna try and dig that screen out. There we go, we can get it. You can see it's coming out. It's pretty caked up. What I usually do is I literally just hold it and blast some carb cleaner in there, or brake cleaner, whatever. It's still kind of nasty. I could keep going that way and clean this one out, but the kit's going to have one in it. I don't know why I choose to do that, but I do. I honestly do. But before I get into that, let's go ahead and take, this is the metering side, or as I like to call it. Somebody just pointed this out to me. That's why I giggled a little bit. The diaphragm side. Even though you got diaphragms on both sides, this is your metering side with your metering lever and everything. And this diaphragm tends to get dry and brittle and crackly. Whenever that happens, it doesn't want to move freely back and forth. Which means most people think that this is actually pumping the fuel. I know I have thought so for many adventures, you know. I thought literally this was the fuel pump, but it's not. This just simply, oh God, yeah, that's really stiff. This just simply opens and closes your metering valve right here. That's what it does. It doesn't pump fuel as many people tend to believe, including yours truly. Where's my razor blade? This will have to work. Yes, it is technically a razor blade, but not the one I was looking for. It would be nice, I'll admit, to have a ultrasonic cleaner that I can drop stuff like this right down in. However, honestly, I don't need it. Usually this stuff works fine. So what I do now is where I took that little screen out, right, I'm going to blast in here while I depress this metering valve. Should shoot out the other end. Yep. So we're good. And another good one is the impulse. We're in the impulse hole. You can see right there. Ta-da. Got another little, no, that doesn't lead to anywhere. So I call that good. We're good to go. Now it's time to break into our kit. Let's do the metering side first. I always like to try and keep an organization of which way things go. All right, like this one is still in place and the way that it came off of the saw. So what I can see is the gasket goes down towards the carburetor. Okay, because whenever you start taking this stuff apart, it just tends to just fall apart on you. And unless you're doing this all day, every day, you tend to forget little things about like the order in which this stuff goes on. Yeah, that's really brittle and nasty. I just got to get in there and just rip it all out. Gosh, this is the worst I've seen, probably. And you can hear it. It's just sounds like a cornflake. Oh, there it is. Now, I've already almost halfway forgotten which goes on first, but I can remember saying that the gasket goes towards the carburetor. So here we go. Gasket on first. There it is. Now with this one, that little nipple right there hooks into your metering setup. There we go. And there's always going to be a little nipple on your carburetor that goes into a specific spot on your diaphragm. I hope you know a pack of chainsaw. What? A mother trucking chainsaw. So come get it. Yeah, I was right at the age when Limp Bizkit was out there. Early 20s. He had all kinds of crazy, stupid songs. All right, now the other side. The other side, the other side. Now this one's a little bit easier for me to remember, the order of operations of what goes where. And this is stiff too. So these are your actual fuel pumps. As your impulse moves back and forth, these little flaps, man, that's stiff as can be. These little flaps get pushed open and closed, and it does that, and it slowly pumps your fuel. So this, contrary to popular belief, which is that the metering side is your fuel pump, nope, this is your fuel pump. The metering side just opens and closes to let more fuel in or out. This thing is what actually is pumping fuel. And now, so since the way that it operates is by opening and closing these holes right here, that tells us that we need to sit flat on this. I'm going to go ahead and do this. Sprayed carb cleaner. Just trying to clean that surface. You really want to avoid using a razor on stuff like this because you could gouge little cuts in there, and that can cause problems with the seal of your fuel pump. This, you have two different kinds, okay? You have this black rubbery one, and you have this tan, kind of like a Gore-Tex type of material, kind of like a nylon. Well, you can use either one. I've heard tell that these right here pump more fuel than these. I couldn't tell you if that's true or not. But the big thing is this is for old school stuff, and this is supposed to be resistant to ethanol. So, supposed to be. All right, so what I do, we know that this goes down, and we know that this goes on top of it. I match up the little nubs. That tells me that's the way it's supposed to go. And then the circle, it's very clear, you're going to place that over top of this circle to find out the orientation. Or you can go on this, everything is outlined on this as well. Let's do it on this. So we can see that we've got a nub here, and we've got a hole for the nub there. Bam, 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 bam. We're there. We got two nubs. Now we can see where the nubs go in relation to the circle. And you just have to look at this, folks. You have to just look at it and line it up. It all fell into place. Those two nubs are holding it. And we put our screws. Oh, wait a minute. That's not right. That's not right. See? It's not lined up right. So let's try this again. Let's do it like this. Oh, that is wrong. We gotta go. There we go. That's where we go. That's it. Go ahead and put our gasket on here. Ta-da! All right, so yeah, it just takes twisting around and figuring it out. That's it. Oop, oop. I forgot to put that screen in. You got to have that screen in. That is your secondary filter. And if you don't put it in, well, you're just asking for trouble. It's going to come, ooh. It's kind of cupped. We cup it with the edges facing upwards and shove it down in there. Now this one, see, this is why I do what I do. This one's too big. Let's go ahead and see if we can take this screw head and shove it down in there. I don't like that. It's too big. Oh, but there, no, it's fine. Yeah, that worked a charm. That's really nice. All right, here we go. Back on there. Now, if you notice, I didn't use any of the other stuff. It comes with some Welch plugs, comes with a new needle and everything. I don't even use them. I don't even use them. That's a song I wrote. Okay, so I dumped out all the old gas and I filled it up, and as I was filling it up I realized I didn't even check the fuel filter. So, fingers crossed, let's see if she pulls fuel and we'll fire up. Well, she's oiling nicely. I can see it all over the chain. Let's throw a good chain on it and put it in some wood and see how it cuts. All right, it is windy as can be. The fella that owned this was obviously an old school firewood cutter. There's no dogs on here at all. I say obviously, but I don't know. Boy, that chain got loose. Let's get a close-up shot.
Well, it is true. They do not make them like they used to make them. Who knows how old this thing is? The serial number is 1595626. I don't know if you could tell anything about the year with that right there, but you know, I believe these came out sometime right around 1976. There's no brake flag, and there was never a brake flag, so that could tell you something about the model year. I know that they definitely did come with brake flags. You could get them that way. I don't know. Somebody out there, give me your best guess of what year this actually is. It's got, oh, excuse me, it's got a hard tip bar on it. And these things take a 196 on the bar mount pattern. At least that's what this one is. And I know that they don't take just straight up Husky large mount. You could probably adapt a steel mount to it easily enough. But I'm going to go ahead and pressure wash this thing at some point, clean it up really nice, and I'll probably throw it on eBay. It's not that I don't, okay, it is that I don't want it. Because as good as they are, you know, that comment, they don't make them like they used to, that is 100% true. They don't make them like they used to. What they used to make them like was they wanted them to last forever. And they had really low power. You know, all you guys out there that's like, this old school stuff is really strong. Bullshit. So, I mean, it's got plenty of power for what it is. It's got great compression. This is not down on power. It's just, no. And a lot of people go, oh, it's a torque monster. No, it ain't. It is a old saw, all right? It's an old saw, and they just chugged away. Just a lot of people think just because it's low RPM that there's a lot of torque. That's not true, okay? It's just not in any way true. But yeah, it's a low RPM, which is why I'm just not interested in keeping it. So if you're watching this video, and if it's early on, you know, I mean, look at the date. If it's 2 years old, I'm quite certain I don't have this anymore. But, you know, if you want to make me an offer, make me an offer. But, you know, I figure cleaned up really nice, and the thing runs perfect. Think of what I could get on eBay. So, you know, I try not to let my stuff go cheap. It's all there, though, and nothing's broken. The one thing that I will say that is odd, and I have no idea if it's factory or not, is there's there's holes. I don't know if that's supposed to be there or what. There's holes on the top cover too that have been drilled in there. Or they came like that. It looks like they came like that. It looks like they're threaded. Like those top cover, that's probably easy to figure out. You could probably get this with a shield that comes up like that. And either this guy decided not to get that shield, or he just removed it. But there's no signs of there being a shield there ever at any point. But yeah, there's no cracks, nothing. This thing is clean. And whenever I pressure wash it, my goodness, it's going to really clean up and be a really nice saw. This is in just great shape, fantastic shape. Anyways, that's enough of this video. All I had to do is rebuild the carburetor. I didn't put no fuel lines on it or anything. And it's oiling great, running great. It's a great old saw. If you're into collecting old saws like this is a really fine example. All right, later.